again.
Hi. We should almost be roommates.
Yeah. I'm just getting the kids and stuff together while I'm waiting.
No problem. We're going to be a few minutes. Welcome. We're going to wait a few minutes before we get started. I'm excited about tonight. I hope you have a candle that you can light with us and a paper and a pen. We'll get started in a few minutes. Until then, just relax. I'm going to have a couple of sips of my tea because I've been talking all day. Such a beautiful night. Do angel magic. I'm going to put the chat up. So if anybody wants to chat or if they have any questions. Oh. Like these last 2 minutes feel like it's long minutes. Let me make sure I have a deck. Okay, there we go. So in the chat, let me know if you are new to angel magic. Might as well get us started. Nice. There we go. Awesome. Well, I think we're always new to angel magic. Okay. I'm gonna take a sip of my drink so I can talk and we'll get started. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Charles Virtue. That's cool. Right on. I did one of Doreen's classes a few years back. Well, this is, I would say, a little different. Not sure of the magic part exactly. Well, I love magic. Pardon me. I've been fine all day. And now I want to start talking. Okay, so welcome. So we're going to get started now. You are going to get a replay of this, so you don't have to try to remember everything. And there are going to be some of the things that I would like us to get started on. First off, I asked for you to bring a candle. And it doesn't matter what candle you have, whether it's a tea light or a figure or taper. So grab your candle and put it in your left hand. And I'm just going to set mine in my palm. And we're going to do an invocation right away to connect to the spirit, to the angels. Okay, are you ready? So repeat after me. in the eyes of the universal spirit, in the love of the divine ones, in the power of the angels, bless me with love towards the universe, the affection of the angels, the wisdom of the queens, the grace of the gods, the strength of the human spirit, and the will and power to perform magic for the service of humankind. May I perform in shade and light each day and night, in perfect love and perfect trust. Descend upon my loving spirit, so mote it be. And we're going to light our candle. Oh, I just had a lighter. There it is. Okay. And let your candle just grow. Ah. And as it lights up, the energy goes into our place. So put it where you can see it. And let's get into some angel magic. So while I get started, I want to know, have any of you experienced an angel before? I have to tell you some of mine. And if you want to unmute and share your story, you can. But I have. I totally 100% believe in angels. Oh my God. Yes, Michael. So my first angel experience, we have to share these before we get started. My very first angel experience, whoa, I have to hold my heart chakra, was when I was really young. And I think I was probably like in grade 1. And I used to have these weird things happen to me. Like one time, my friend's brother was in a wheelchair and it was motorized and he didn't have any skills or anything. And he was out of the wheelchair. So my friend jumped in and she's like doing these papa wheelies and everything, right? And it looked so cool. And she's like, you try. So I get in and I was like, I lost total control of myself. And it was like I became her brother and I couldn't snap out of it. And I remember it took like so much will for me to get out of that wheelchair that when I did, it felt like I just like flew. And she looked at me and she's like, oh my God. She's like, that looks so real. Oh my God, you should be an actress. I was scared. But weird things started happening to me when I was in grade 1. And right around that time, I was always like, I had this night where I thought I was in so much trouble. And I remember I was like praying, like, please, I thought I was going to die. And this angel came out of my closet, like walked right out, this woman. And she told me, and I know it was an angel because she did have wings to me. And she told me I'm going to be okay. To stay strong, you're going to be okay. And after that experience, I knew that I had support around me. And then I started having other experiences. Michael was one of my favorites. So when I first opened up my first metaphysical store, I was like 20. I used a $3,000 credit card, my husband. And I thought, that's it. I'm going to do readings and I'm going to have my shop. Anyway, that's how I started. And so I did this. And meanwhile, my family was having trouble in Alberta, my mom, my dad, and all of my brothers. So we moved them to BC and we were helping them and they moved in and then they were helping me at my shop and it was just like chaos. So my finances in the first few months were all right. But then when I got to the third month, oh my God, it was like a week before rent. And I didn't know how I was going to make rent. I was like, oh my God, like, how is this going to happen? I have nothing. No one's coming in. And I was on a highway. Okay. So there was like unlimited traffic. Okay. So I sat there and I was pretty upset. I really believed in my vision. And I had this magical room. My reading room was like a gypsy. It was all cloth and you had to go in and get a reading and it was all cool looking. So I went in there and I did my classes and stuff out of there. And I just said to the spirits, I'm like, okay. I said, I completely understand if I'm meant to close down. Just tell me what I should do. I'm totally fine with it. But I need to know, like, should I try to fight for this? So anyway, depressed. I go home and I'm depressed all night, right? And this is the first time I've been in a situation. So I go back to work the next day. And as I get to my store, there's this little lady standing outside. And it was like she was waiting for us to open. And I'm like, oh, right on. Here's our sign. This is our sign. Just listen to what this lady has to say. So we open up the shop and everyone's in there, me, Brett, my parents. And she comes in and she is looking at all my stone table, right? And she's like, oh, what are these? And I'm like, well, they're crystals and they're gemstones and they have these spiritual vibrations and they can help us. And all of a sudden she's like, they can help us? And I said, well, yeah. And she looked at me and she says, how dare you say they can help us? She said, this is witchcraft. This is evil. And she walked out. And I was like, oh my God. I looked at my family. I looked at Brett and I'm like, there's my sign. I'm fucking evil. Pardon my French, but that's how I felt. So I go into my tarot room and I'm like crying. And I'm like, oh my God. Like I was shocked. Like maybe like what I'm doing like wrong? This is the first time I ever had a doubt, really. All of a sudden I hear the door and I hear this lady, oh, hello. And she's all cheerful and I'm in there crying and I'm not trying to make any sounds. And my parents are up there and Brett, my husband's up there. And she starts talking and she's like, oh, what is this? And she's like, it's such a nice day. And she's joyful. And I don't even know what they were talking about. But at a certain point, I hear her say, oh, look, the Encyclopedia of Angels or the Archangel Michael. And my husband's like, yeah, do you know about Archangel Michael? And she's like, oh, yes, I sure do. And so I was intrigued at this point. So I get out of my room and I go up front and she looks at me and she's like, do you know, have you ever heard of Michelangelo? And I said, yes, the painting. And she said, yes. She goes, do you know that so many people didn't know his purpose? But when he died and went to heaven, he got to shake God's hand. And I was like, wow. So I was kind of shaken back by this. And she says to me, she goes, it is worth it. So then she kind of gave my parents a message. I'm getting all emotional, right? But she gave us all a separate message. And then she left. And then all of a sudden she opens the door and she goes, oh, and by the way, have a happy day. And she giggles. And when I looked at her, it like just clicked. Like I looked at her right in the eyes. And she didn't have the same eyes as us. So then she left. I was like, we were all like, holy shit, now that was a sign, right? So I was like, that was weird. I'm like, okay, I need a cigarette. I'm like, let's get a cigarette. Like, you think you have this weird experience. The first thing you go for is a cigarette. Like, duh. Either way, we go outside of the shop to have a cigarette. And we're watching her, and she's walking down the street. And she kind of had this weird little walk. And I was like, Mom, like her eyes were like stars. I said, I didn't see like regular eyes. They're like galaxies. They're just like dark with like stars. And we were just like watching her, and she was like all kind of walking weird. And then she sat down at the bench, and all of a sudden she just sat there for a minute. And when she got up, she walked across the street perfectly. No weird thing to her. And I was like, holy shit, we had the best day. We made enough that it paid for 3 months and like got us started. And to me, that was like that was a miracle for me. That was like, oh my God, right? Like there's so much symbology in that now when I look back. But it's really cool. And one more quick one. First time I did my magic mirror, and I was doing my guardian angel. You see my guardian angel in the magic scrying mirror. I did that. And Archangel Michael came forward. And I remember when I saw him, he was like the most beautiful thing in the world. Ask Brett, because I was like right there telling Brett exactly what was going on as I was looking at it. And I did not want to let the mirror go. And when I was having a conversation, I could see him moving his lips in the mirror, but I was hearing it in my head. It was the weirdest thing. And that was also something that was really life-changing for me as well. So I do firmly believe in angels. And I actually believe that we are all connected to the angels. We all have a divine spirit. We all have a divine aspect. And I always say to people, you know, everyone thinks these angels are just like standing around waiting for us to pray. But, you know, they're living life and doing stuff, right? And when I firmly believe that our divine self chose to come here, who knows why? There's millions of reasons why. But people tend to forget that we're divine beings and that we descended. You know, a lot of people believe that we descended and chose to come to the earth. Well, divine powers are unlimited. And so there's this old text, and I mean, I don't want to say that it's too old, but there's this angelic magic that has come about. And I want to get into some of the archangels too. I wonder if maybe I should do that first, because that's kind of what we know the angels of. Actually, let's not. Let's do before the archangels. So I want to go into the where angel magic comes from. And angel magic is also known as Enochian Magic, and it's a magical system. And it combines a whole bunch of different elements into a single source. And the system is described normally as used in Golden Dawn. And the study of the Golden Dawn is known as ceremonial magic. And the Golden Dawn is connected to many different magicians. There's Aleister Crowley, is one of them. And there's also John Dee. So we'll be getting into a little bit of that. But the theory behind the system is being able to step by step create a connection to the angelic realm and being able to use certain time and effort to have a corresponding element of success when you're communicating with the angelic world. So as far as anyone knows, the magical system using angel magic and Enochian magic is to describe the 4 quadrants, okay? And there is, that has been originated with John Dee and Edward Kelly. So John Dee was born in England, and this is back in the 1500s. So I think he was born like in 1527 in a small village, and just outside of London this was. But he entered college at the age of 15, and he later journeyed all over, and he became proficient in navigation. So he liked to travel. And at one point, he was actually imprisoned for treason against Queen Mary because she had cast, because he did a horoscope for her. And even though it was at her request, he was still imprisoned for it. But he was finally cleared of the charge and released. And the experience itself was one that he never got over. So at his family's property, he accumulated a whole library. And this soon became a center for science and learning. He was considered an authority in mathematics and navigation and astronomy. And he liked optics. And he was an appointed astrologer later on to the Royal Elizabeth I. And he is said to have been married in 1574, but his wife's name was never known. And she died the following year they were married. But it was in 1581 that John Dee began crystal gazing. And by then, he did find a new wife. And this lady was waiting at Elizabeth's court. So she was intensely interested in the art of crystalmancy and was considered unable to succeed at it. So she couldn't read the crystals or the crystal ball. And he was not a medium. He tried, but he wasn't. But he did find someone who was, and who was willing to help him in his studies. And this person was Edward Talbot. And some of you may have heard of him, but he was also a famous occultist. And for unknown reasons, he changed his name to Kelly after meeting John Dee. So, although nobody really knows much, most of the historians credit John Dee with the intelligence and the curiosity that was accomplished when it came to this angel magic. And so he became very good at it. So let's get into the Enochian alphabet. So I just want to see where I want to start with. Okay, so maybe I should go a little further. So with this partner of Kelly, so now we have John Dee and Kelly, they practiced and they got involved into more of the positive thinking and spirituality. And they created this concern for humanity. and they wanted to awaken people. And so they began scrying, and John's mediumship ability was actually becoming very strong. And whenever this situation came up, they would try to produce more work in the fields of spirituality, occultism, and magic. So these are the two people that started using and collecting different glasses by using crystals, by throwing stones, and they started to communicate with different spirits. And all of a sudden, their collection started, and they were starting to communicate with extraterrestrial extraterrestrial intelligences. And then they started ceremonies, and they observed the proceedings of these ceremonies, and they carefully wrote down the results. And it was in this way that this entire angelic magical system, which is called the Enochian, originated. And the letters of the Enochian alphabet, or the angelic language, were written in rows and columns on large tablets. And there was magical seals and talismans that were devised with these angelic letters on them. And there was 30 aethers. So A-E. Oh, I like that you have goosebumps all over from that, whatever it was. It's awesome. Okay, so write this down. A-E-T-H-Y-R-S. Aethers. And you might have heard ethers, okay, spoken with certain spiritual language. Well, aethers were planes. So like the Akashic record plane, right? Levels of consciousness were aether. And these places were described. And the names of the angelic hierarchies of the universe were then carefully recorded. And it's pretty interesting. I love this stuff. So in the late 1500s, so 1580s, Dee and Kelly, they toured Europe. Like, wouldn't that be awesome? Like, tour Europe and learn all this cool stuff. So they toured Europe while they're practicing scrying, and they were learning about the Kabbalah, the tree of life. So when they returned to England in 1587, things changed. And they had someone mobbed and looted John Dee's house, and it was partially destroyed, and his library was destroyed, and he was without money, and his old friends were either dead or out of power. And the accession of King James I in 1603, who feared magic, had no love for John Dee and assured his ultimate downfall. But he died penniless in 1608. As for Kelly, he was scrying in the seventh ether one day. So that seventh plane one day, he was scrying when a message came to him that terrified him completely. And in fact, he is said to have sworn to scry no more from that fateful day. And in an overwhelming fit of desperation, he robbed Dee of what little money he had left, helped Dee's wife pack her bags, and together they left Dee, never to return again. He is said to have ended his day in a return to crime. And the message that no frightened Kelly had brought was an end to Enochian magic. And that was it. Weird, hey? Friendship. So there is something that I want to kind of share with you right now. So just listen to me as I say this. So this is what the message that came to Kelly that frightened him so much. Okay, this was the message that he received. I am the daughter of fortitude and ravished every hour from my youth. For behold, I am understanding, and science dwelleth in me, and the heavens oppress me. They cover and desire me with infinite appetite. For none that are earthly have embraced me, for I am shadowed with the circle of the stars and covered with the morning clouds. My feet are swifter than the wind, and my hands are sweeter than the moving dew. My garments are from the beginning, and my dwelling place is in myself. The lion knows not where I walk, neither do the beasts of the field. I am the seed. I am the flower, yet a virgin, a sanctified, and not sanctified. Happy is he that embrace me. For the night season, I am sweet, and in the day full of pleasure. My company is a harmony of many symbols, and my lips are sweeter than itself. I am a harlot for such as ravish me, and a virgin with such as know me not. Purge your streets, sons of men, wash your house clean, and make yourself holy, and put on righteousness. Pass out your old assumptions and burn their clothes. And then I will bring forth children to you, and they shall be the sons of comfort in the age this is to come. So that's what he received in the seventh realm. And really, not very much was known of this work. Like, remember, we're talking about the 1580s, okay? So nothing more was really known of this work of B and Kelly until into the late 19th century in England. And there it was taken up by a mysterious and highly secret brotherhood of adepts. And these would-be people were called themselves the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And they were led by three imaginative, that's what they call them, imaginative magicians. And this order adopted the system of Enochian magic that was created by Kelly and Bee. And the members of the Golden Dawn invoked the spirits of the quadrant, and they traveled in their astral and mental bodies, the traveling into the spirit vision through the ether. So like Bee, they really wanted to study these records, and they started to record their experiences and the approaches that the Enochian magical system had, but with a scientific attitude. And so this went even further than D. And they related to the Enochian with the Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, which was a Hebrew system of magic in the old days, and with the tarot. Okay, so that's what these guys use. And the tarot is a deck of 72 cards that was said to be the book of Thoth. The god Thoth was the Egyptian god of wisdom and magic. And they also devised a system of geometry. And they carefully related it to the Enochian letters. Pretty interesting. I need to take a sip before I go on. What do you think so far? Interesting? Okay. So this system all of a sudden became awesome. Okay. This system all of a sudden became a secret. And it was part of the secret dawn until one of its members published his version of it and then left the order to form his own. There's the leaked secrecy. His name was Aleister Crowley. I got goosebumps, sorry. So some of you have been studying some different courses with me, and you might be aware of Aleister Crowley, but Christians and the religion do not like him. And some of the things he created were pretty far out there. However, I do understand his system, and I understand the way they thought back then. But he, Aleister Crowley, walked away from this order. And he published his own book. Guy had balls back then. And he was perhaps the first person since Kelly to actually visit each one of these aethers. And he confronted the residing spirits and the guardians of these planes. In fact, Aleister Crowley claims to have been Kelly in a past life. Now, I think that's a little cuckoo, but maybe. Okay, who am I to say? But that's what he claims. So he was Kelly in a past life. And this was the reason he gave for all of his uncanny ability to scry into this mysterious ethers and the planes. Crazy. So he was using a stone. He would use a scrying stone. And it was very much the same way that Kelly did. And his experiences were recorded in a book. And he actually published this book, and it's called The Vision and the Voice. I know I have to make it sound like that, whatever. So this was written in a very obscure symbolism and technical language that few people today can understand it, okay? And Crowley, whose colorful life, okay? If you just looked him up, if you just Googled him, you're not going to get anything positive, okay? But because of his colorful life, suggests that that's one reason it eliminates this whole thing. So it was an amazing psychic and prolific writing. So if you go into it with an open mind and without the judgment of, what people say about him, you'll be able to understand that his advancement in the Enochian system actually revealed planetary and numerical correspondences that actually makes Enochian magic possible. And this was published work of Crowley and the Golden Dawn. And some things differ slightly, same within the spelling of certain correspondences. So when you're looking at things that I tell you and teach you, you might see it spelled a different way, but it's pretty interesting. So now I don't watch TV at all. Is that the name of bad guy on a TV show? I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch TV either. I don't have it here, but I'm gonna have to check into that because that'd be so cool to watch. But yeah, he's like, I don't know. They were into weird things back then. Let's just put that. So John Dee, I did want to, before I go on to more of the angels, I wanted to explain to you this John Dee, what I think is intriguing. I always had a connection to the East Coast, and I didn't know why. Like, it took me 5 years to get here. Yeah, he does do demon work. He's the one that created the book of Goetia, and it's a full of different spirits, angels, spirits, creatures that he created. Yeah, he would be mentioned in that. Probably is like the father of it. Okay, so but John Dee, as I was saying, what I love about him is today he is known as a mathematical magician, and he helped. They say that he helped end magic. I don't believe any of that. However, what I love about it is that when John Dee studied, he studied astronomy and navigation, right? But he studied and he lectured all throughout Europe, and his reputation soared. And when he studied navigation, he studied it with the same Mercado. It's like an old instrument that they use. It was like a projection map. So he studied navigation with it. And I believe that the person was the one that created it. So he was given use of this projection map. So this, as an explorer, Mercado, who created this projection map, later offered to John Dee Canada. This guy offered John Dee Canada, the whole country, in exchange for his knowledge of math. Like, what kind of deal is that? Who's this Mercado guy who created this map projector given John Dee Canada? Well, guess what? John Dee lived in St. John. John Dee came to St. John. So Dee was an expert in astronomy, astrology, math, alchemy, and much more. But he also did this work for rulers, Protestant rulers. Edward and Elizabeth consulted him, and so did the Catholic Queen Mary. But he was able to work astronomy and astrology and alchemy and magic, and he used natural forces. They believed in him, and that's why he worked for the royals. And so I find that pretty interesting. That why out of all of this did he come to Canada? And the St. John Museum actually has a section on him. I believe we saw a whole thing on him, whole wall. So I love it because he was that strange occult helper that always was there and used crystals and magic, and was the Queen of England's astronomer. He did readings for her quite regularly, and they actually looked at him like he had this power, this supernatural power, and they tapped into it. But we know they all tap into those things. So either way, I find that quite interesting. So I wanted to share the whole connection to St. John. But he did end up dying in England, I believe, is where he is buried. So he did go back there. But how weird. Someone was just, here's Canada. Now, did he go to Canada thinking he owned it? I don't know what happened, right? But this is like 1600s, right? Okay, so let's get into the alphabet because you have to learn that. I do too. So John Dee devised a language that was so powerful that they had to spell names backwards in order to avoid conjuring unwanted spirits. And a simple pronunciation of a demon's name is in this new language. That's what they said. Okay, that's what they believe. However, that's insufficient. Okay, they believed it ended up being insufficient to bring about a demon into manifestation. And that's why they actually called this language Enochian, after the patriarch of Enoch, who was said to be the one who walked with God. The name Enoch was said by occultists to represent an ancient group, the ancient group of adepts, so of like initiates, spiritualists who kept the flame of occultism burning through the dark centuries. And so the alphabet shows that the titles for each letter and their English equivalents were what was taught by the Golden Dawn. So you are going to get a copy of this table, but I am going to quickly go through it. So you'll get a sheet that shows you the Enochian alphabet and the English alphabet. And then in between it is how you would say it. Okay. Okay. So, and here I go, speaking another foreign ancient language. Okay. So English A, in English, okay, English, I'm just going to say the English A and then the angelic A. Okay, so I'll say English and then angelic. A, un. B, te. C or K, ves. B, gal. E, graph. F, orth. G, jed. H, na, health. L, Y, or J, gone. L, M, pal. N, drun, or drun. O, med. P, malls. Q, jur. R, dawn. S, fam. T, visa. U, V, W, va. X, how. Z, calf. Oh. So when you get it, when you get the table of the Enochian alphabet, I want you to say it with the title. And when you say it with the title, pay attention to your third eye and your crown and see where you feel it. Okay, because that says a lot on how you are receiving and connecting to the angelic power. But that's the alphabet. Un, pe, ve, gal, graph, orth, dead, na, hey, gone, tal, dun, med, mouse, ger, don, fam, visa, va, pow, calf. That's angelic. I mean, doesn't it sound angelic? So that is the Enochian language. And the name Enoch represented, like I said, walking with God. So when we use the title or draw this Enochian alphabet, we are communicating with the angelic realm. And each letter of the Enochian alphabet corresponds with the planetary, the elemental, earth, air, fire, water, spirit, and or tarot properties, right? Now think about that. The tarot was created to communicate with angels, but yet, okay, look at all the stuff people say about it. But you know, a lot of times it was the spiritualists that created these things because they didn't want things out there. And a lot of times it was religion that ended these things, right? So each one of these alphabets are connected to planets, the element, and a tarot energy. In addition, they each have a number value. And so it's a workable art, the Enochian alphabet, that we can use because it's connected to each one of these things. And each letter is assigned a number. And by substituting the numbers for letters, we can add up and create different words or different symbols, right? Or for our amulets or sigils. So words that are numerical have hidden occult energy. And this is the way the entire Enochian language was created. The same with the Kabbalah, the same with the Jewish language and the Greek language. So the angelic language was a very secret. And the Golden Dawn taught that the angels and the Enochian was ancient. They didn't look at this stuff like they just created it. They looked at it like they were given it by the angels. And traces of this could actually be found in sacred and secret mysteries of some of the oldest religions around the world. And parts of it are found in rock-cut pillars on the remains of ancient temples. And it's very doubtful that it was ever spoken, but it was used more like sigils and amulets and glyphs and hieroglyphs to record and give life to important ideas. You know what I like about that is you take a look at some of these ancient Egyptian places and they have their hieroglyphs on it, which they believe the scribers were the people of power putting those out there. We're looking at it like it's all ancient, but they're looking at it like that is still, the sun is still hitting that. It was created for the power of the sun to hit. Those hieroglyphs on those temples were created for the moon to hit. So it's like, we all think that this magic is, you know, done and thousands of years away. Well, it's still alive. People believe that that stuff is still alive today. And so this language is something that we can use to connect to higher powers. And why? Why do we want to connect to the Enochians and to the angels? Well, for many reasons. One, they bring us sacred knowledge and sacred mysteries, not just of the universe, but the ones in our life. And they're connected to some of the oldest religions in the world. And it's awesome. So every culture believes in angels, and there's a reason for it. So they may call them different things, but there's a reason for it. So one thing that I want to get into is each letter, okay? So let's share. I want to take this a little further, so get your pen and paper out. Okay, so each letter said out loud is a message, okay? So, okay. So I'm getting ahead. So if there's a question, let's say, think of a question. Okay, wait, let's not do that yet. I'm trying to think of how we can connect with it. Okay, to the angelic language. Okay, so when we speak the angelic language and we say it out loud, after each time we say it, we would listen for guidance to come. So after they would say this language and call to the angels, they would listen for the angels. So first they would listen. And in that way, they would then call to them again. And the letters were actually used to make sentences, just like regular things, right? But they were probably used in a coded way. Like I said, some were used as letters and some were used as numbers. They did not want to just have one word written out, so they would interchange it. So I'm going to take this a little further. So you, I hope you know your horoscope sign. So I'm going to share with you the horoscope signs and the alphabetic, the angel alphabet of what it is. So we're going to go with Taurus. So the Taurus is the A. Okay. And the A was the or the UN. Aries is B. And that is PE, Pe. Then we have Virgo is E. Actually, just wait. We're going to just do the regular alphabet. So we did A and B. C and K is actually the element fire. So whenever we're doing magic and we want to invoke the angels and the power of fire, then we would say the C letter in angelic alphabet, which is Ve, V-E-H. So I could light my candle, or I could look at my candle and say Ve, 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 and see how it reacts. Or we can activate more, it's dripping. Whoops, oh my God, there goes my keyboard. Or we can activate more of a flame, right? Thank you. So that is C and K. D is spirit. So if we want to call the power of angelic spirit, just the element of spirit, that is the angel D, which is Gal, G-A-L. And E is Virgo. And Virgo is Graph, G-R-A-P-H. And then we have F, and F is, oh, okay. This is hard to say. Cauda, so C-A-U-D-A, D-R-O-C, D-R-O-C, E-I-S, I believe. Oh, I'm going to check that. I believe that's what it is. And that is F. And that actually represents, what is F now? Now I'm getting myself all confused. F is Orth, O-R-T-H. And then we have G. which is Cancer. So that is Zed, Z-E-D. And of course, you can't really see the alphabet, but you'll see the table. I'll make sure you have that. Now we are at H, which is the air element. So this, put a circle around when you write down, okay? So the air element is, we're on H, right? Nahat. So N-A dash H-A-T-H. My windows are open. Now what I want you to do is say that word outside 3 times. And that represents the angel of air. And why do we want to call the angel of air? Because they give us a vision of the future. They give us our clairvoyance power. But why do I like to do that? I like to do it because as soon as I say it 3 times and I wait, I feel the air come around me, like it's like my air hug. And I like those. But I'll also pay attention to how the air comes to me. Okay. So I want you to try that, because anytime you just need to feel cleansed or you need to release something, that is all you have to do, is just say Nahat and call it. And I say things 3 times just because it works for me. You could just say it once. You could just be Nahat and see if it works. But I like to do it because the 3rd time I do it, I feel most powerful. It's like, oh, my little magical self just gets a little boost of confidence on that 3rd time saying it. Okay. So let's go into I, J, or I, Y, and J. So I, Y, and J are all the same letter, and that is G-O-N, gone. And the element is Sagittarius. So we can use that when we are praying or blessing or healing people of certain of their horoscope sign, right? And I'm going L is next, and that is Cancer too. So some of these have more than one side. So you can use L to call Cancer. You can use both of them, L and G. And you can say Jed, So L is you are, right? So to call the angel of Cancer, Jedder, is how you would say it. So now we're at M, and M is Aquarius. And Aquarius, okay, so the M letter in the angel is Tal, T-A-L. And so make sure that you let me know if you have yours yet. We are at what? Scorpio is N. And N is D-R-U-N. Run. That's how to call your angel. Then there is Libra is O. Oh, that's awesome. So you heard yours, right? Yeah. So O is Libra. And O in angelic language is Med, M-E-D. Leo is P. So P is, where's P? M-A-L-S. Malls, yes, malls. Then we have Q. So Q is the element water. And we say in the angelic language, Ger, G-E-R. And Pisces is R. Okay. So R is dawn, D-O-N. That's going to be hard to remember. We all know a dawn. Okay. And we also have Gemini is F. Okay. And S is Fam, F-A-M. That kind of fits, I think. Then we have T is Leo, and T is Giza, so G-I-S-A. And then we have a Capricorn. So Capricorn is U, V, and W. It's Capricorn. And that is pronounced as Va, V-A-U, Va. And then we have X, and X is Earth. X marks the spot on the Earth. And Earth is, X is what I said, Pal, P-A-L. And the last one, Z or Z, and that is Leo. And it is said as Keph, C-E-P-H. Now, here's your homework. Well, I mean, I probably won't, we don't have a part 2. I keep thinking I have another part to this. So what I want you to do is write your name in the angelic alphabet and then say it the way the title is spelled. Okay? And that is the power of your name. That is all of your angelic powers. So how does it work? Well, when we use the alphabet, and that's all it is speaking that language, the Enochian language, because each one of those alphabets has an angelic connection, astrology connection, right? Well, every intentional act is a magical act. And it is the human's intent that will make the magical act, nothing else. And this is a very important idea because it can be seen that most of our daily actions are very magical. We are, in fact, consciously or unconsciously all making magic. And as we put our intent into using the act of the angelic alphabet, we are also creating the colors and the ingredients that the magic has, whether it's black or white, depending on our intent. So there's always a rule, right? And some of this old rule is black magic is any intentional act whose purpose is purely selfish or ego-driven. While white magic is any intentional act whose motive is about recreating growth and developing themselves to wholeness, which is not considered ego orientated. So let me give you an example. I want to be rich and just tap into that universal flow. So I want an unlimited amount of money. Is that selfish and ego driven? Where I want to be a millionaire so I can prove to my parents that I can do it. Just wanting to be a millionaire to prove to my parents that I can do it ego orientated. So we don't want to do anything for or to prove anyone anything. When we do magic, it's about our true desires. We are the creators of our life, and everybody's wholeness and everybody's wants and needs and desires are different, and they should all be honored. So I just take the whole judgment thing out of it, because I believe that I am a God in the spirit world and I can have it in this world. Okay, put yourself there for this angelic magic. Know that when you're using the angelic alphabet, you're activating your angelic self. You are angelic. You have an angelic aspect to you. You love. And the Enochian magical system comprises of two types of magic operations. It's the invocation of the ruling spirit, which is bringing them into connection to you. And that is through using their alphabet. And the astral energy traveling into the quadrants, north, south, east, or west, or the ethers, the planes that were described by the system. So we either go to them and they come to us. I think it's a little bit of both, but they both have been used effectively, and we can use them today easily. It's not hard. And the system works because lots of magicians will it so. And on the other hand, the system might not work if you don't have the willpower to do it. So there can be a difference between will and desire. And that includes the determination towards the consciousness. When I desire something, I think about it every day. Now, I'm not an obsessed freak, but if I'm sitting there in silence and I'm enjoying the beauty of my view and I have that perfect feel, I'll say, I do want what it is that I'm focusing on right now. I bring it alive and I enjoy watching it, how it comes about, because I'm co-creating with the unhidden realm. So we do have to use our power and our determination. And this can be deliberate, right? We can consciously desire something, but I always look for the whimsical. I like the blissful aspect. So I always look for the signs and, where's the dangling carrot all the way? That's what I like about it. And that's how it works for me. We can never ask for something that our will and spirit will not be able to manifest. You're only going to be able to manifest what it is that is connected to your quest, or connected to your true will and desire. And that's what will manifest. So you need to trust yourself, and you need to trust in what you want in your life, and you need to desire it and know that it is okay to want everything you want. Okay. That's like the number one thing. And be excited with how it comes into this world. Sometimes it takes years, but the magic works, the motive. And the motive is the driving force behind every magical act. And the driving force is that angelic power behind the alphabet. And that's critical for success. So if you don't believe in angels, then let yourself be open to it. And especially after listening to all of this, when you go to bed or when it's dark at night, make sure you do look for sparkles, because the angels come to us as sparkles. And if we look at ourselves and we see what we want, and we know that the angels are there helping us, we will be able to connect to them. Karma is the cause and effect. And it is a universal law. but that karmic effect has a direct relationship that exists between all things, and it operates on all planes of existence. So every magical act and every prayer and everything that we send out is actually charged with these universal powers, just like karma, and just like the physical, the mental, and the emotional. And it is just a natural way that is trying to bring you the perfect form of your true will and desire. So I want to get into a couple of things before we go. I still have 20 minutes. Okay, so here we go. So the other thing I want to share with you is the 7 planes, the 7 cosmic planes. And that's what I talked about with the Enochian Magic. And the first plane was believed in the occult system, as well as the Kabbalic system and the Enochian system. So there's all of these systems that are also connected and believe in these 7 cosmic planes. So the first plane is actually called divine. And that is, and that's what it's called, divine. And the Enochian system believes that this divine place is where our divine body is. So our divine body is connected to the divine plane. The second plane is the upper spirit. And this is known as the upper spirit of the divine. I have to put that in there. And that's our abstract spirit. The third plane is our lower spirit. Okay, so we have the upper spirit, like our higher self, and then our lower spirit, and that is like our human spirit. And that actually represents our world, or the world. But back then it was our world. So individual worlds, even though they're all connected. So the lower spirit was known to be our realm. The fourth plane is the upper mental. And this is archetypal energies. Okay, so this is our mental plane and the archetype where we're living in our role of our life. And it was known to be abstract mind. Okay, so our abstract self, it changes, and we're understanding and learning to know. The fifth plane is our lower mind. And they actually called it and was known as the concrete mind, the intellectual. Concrete? Did they even have that back then in the 1500s? I guess so. But they called it the concrete mind. And it was known as the intellectual creative. But the fifth plane was our mental body. Okay, and our mental body is connected to the upper mental and the lower mental. So we can drop and become more into the lower mental, or we can higher our mind and become, awaken and be more into the upper mental realm. So there you can see where the splitting and the separation of the mind could actually take place. And from the first three realms, so the divine, the upper spirit, and the lower spirit, well, those were all in a different abyss. The fourth realm, which was the upper mental, the fifth realm, which was the lower mental, the sixth realm, which is the astral realm, which was known as the substantial, formative. And that was known to be the realm of our astral body. Okay. And then the seventh realm was the physical realm. While the bottom four realms were known to be the great abyss. And then the first three, the great outer abyss. So the seventh realm represents the physical body. And those were the angelic seven cosmic planes and the corresponding bodies. So I do want to just go into a little bit on how to speak the Enochian, and then I got to go into the archangels because I want you looking for the archangels tonight, and I love the archangels too. So the pronunciation when you're speaking the Enochian language was always something that was taught by the Golden Dawn, and it is quite similar to Hebrew, but there's 10 major rules to remember. One is, okay, the consonants have an E, so an E or an EH added. So the letter B is actually pronounced be, and the letter K is K. K. Okay, I don't know how clear that's showing up for you. And then the second one is most words have a K sound. For example, the letter A, or I guess, is it K or A? Okay, so let me do this. I did it wrong. Most vowels have a H sound added. So for example, the letter A is pronounced ah. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but ah is A. So you want to add a H to it. The third one, the Enochian word, now write this down, S-O-B-H-A, is pronounced in a 3 syllables as so-ba-ha. So-ba-ha. Okay, so that's kind of, you can see the H's and the AH put on it. And that's the general rule for words. Okay, so try to put a or a H on it. Now you don't have to worry if you said it wrong. It has nothing to do. It's just finding it and what's right for you. I'm just kind of teaching you, trying to help you. So the letter G, when you see that in the alphabet, can either be a hard G or a soft G. So it can be Jimmel or Gimmel. So you can use the G's anyway. The letter Y and I are interchangeable as the letters V and U. Okay. And the letters J and W are seldomly used. So the letter X, it sounded like onk. Okay. And the letter S can be sounded like ass or se with a H on it. The letter R can be pronounced ra or R. The letter Z is pronounced as Zod. Zod. And some people will interchange the Z or the Z for an S. And the vowel I is pronounced as E. So I's are E's. And that was easy for me to remember, same as in native language. Okay, so when you are pronouncing these letters, the names of the gods and the spirits and the rulers of the north, south, east, and west, and the planes that I just talked about are all the magical results. And so these will flow together. And when you say it easily and it just like feels good, then it's happened. And people will also sing it like a song if you want. So if you like to sing, use the alphabets and like a sound, make a song, make your song in an angelic thing. Okay. So play with it. But it is about reciting them, saying them out loud, and learning the mantra of how it sounds to you. Okay. And you'll know when you get it. You'll just know. So it is about the language. That is the language of how to do it. And the system is full of spiritual intelligences. And these intelligences they love action. They love to be part of the force. And they are a higher power. So they have a different character and a different quality when we encounter them. And that's one of the reasons why it feels like a blessing or a miracle when we are able to connect to the angels. So I'm going to get into the archangels now. So I want to get you to look for sparkles. And you're like, yeah. Well, some of you may have heard me tell you about this, but tonight I want you to look for sparkles, and I want you to do this all the way up till May 1st. And you can, once you see it, you can see it anytime you want. But up until May 1st is the perfect time to induce and awaken your angelic eyes. So all you do is go to sleep, and when you're looking out at the stars at night, or you're in your room and the sky or your room is dark, look for that little bit of white noise. Look for almost like a white mist. You almost think it's like an energy in your room. That's what you want to look for. And if you can see that white mist, put your hand up and just go like this, right? As if maybe took a little something crazy and you're looking for some trails or something. I don't know how to describe it. Look for your aura. I always find when I go flat and just kind of go like this, it's easier for me to see. Or if you hold your hand in your room, just between you and the ceiling, and just hold it there for a few minutes until you feel like there is some heat, and move your hand, you'll see your handprint. So I want you to kind of play with your space in your room tonight. And if you do, you'll start to see sparkles and colors. And this is known to happen from the full moon of April until May 1st. Anyway, if you see them, you can see them anytime. Angelic power comes to us every night. It's always around. So if you see yellow or gold or blue sparkles or energies around your candles even, that represents Archangel Raphael. And Raphael represents the season of spring. So we can see this yellow, this gold, this blue, even when we have a campfire outside. And the time of the day that Archangel Raphael is at most power is during the dawn. So Archangel Raphael's power, healing power, is in the morning. And he represents the element of air. And the signs for Archangel Raphael is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And his name is Rapha, which means healer. And so we can call Archangel Raphael or Rapha to come heal. And he means shining healer. So when we call him, we usually stand to the east because that is his gateway, or we'll call him in the morning upon awakening. Give me the healing energy I need. My body is in a healing phase right now. But if you see that, and now he is connected to the air element. So Archangel Raphael is actually connected to the fairies and the dragonflies and the eagles and the birds and everything that flies. So all of those amazing air totems. And he is actually known to be the angel that is meant to protect humans on earth, to protect them, to heal them, and to bring us the power of love and joy and light and prayer and compassion. I love him. And he's been around forever. He is also known as, I'm going to quickly let you know that he is actually the one who whispered the secrets of the witch's pentagram. And he is the son of El and consort of Atreus. So he was known to be connected to the humans, and he was the great angel of the sun. So it's pretty neat. He brings us healing mist. So if you ever are into Reiki and you do Reiki healing or energy healing, and you start to get that slight mist on your hands and on your skin, and if you've done water magic with me, that sticky white mist, that's Archangel Raphael's presence. So even in the moisture area, it feels more moist, Raphael's around, especially if you're doing magic and healing. Archangel Michael. Okay, let's do this. Archangel Michael, when Archangel Michael comes around, his sparkles are red, different shades of red. And his time of day is noon. So think about noon, not just your lunch break, but that's when Archangel Michael is trying to clear all the evils and negativities that have gotten to us. And his time is summer. So his power is summer and all of the spirits that are connected to it. And he's actually known to be in charge of the element of fire. Now, some people use him as the element of earth. So you can use these angels for different elements. And there is more knowledge on that. So his astrological signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So if you're a Sagittarius, Archangel Michael, you have a connection. And his name means he who is of God. And he was actually seen as a pagan god before he became an angel. So he was known to actually live on earth. And in many regions, Michael ranks as the top angelic being. And it's because they had to make this pagan god and bring him into the religious culture in order for people to convert. So he was actually involved with magic and the power of God before Christianity and Islam and all of these other religions. And actually, he was actually connected to the old Christmas tree and the Easter bunny. So before religion, he had the pagan archetype. So he is an avenging angel, and he is one who likes to clear bad things. He gains power out of that. So he is known to supply man with testosterone. I love that. It's like, hey, Michael, my man needs some testosterone, right? Call that in at lunch hour. It's so bad. But in medieval times, he wore armor, and you would find him around oak trees, and he was known to cleanse and bring strength to men. So he was always known as a terminator angel. So anything you need to get rid of, he will terminate for you. Okay. Let me see. We also use him because he's well known to create sacred space in your home and on your property. And it was said, when erecting sacred space within your home or on your property, turn to the Archangel Michael for guidance, for his structure and placement. and he will bring in his red or gold highlights and protect your family with its armor. I love that. I have to show you my old book of shadows I'm reading out of, and it's like I can barely read the writing in this thing. It's so faded. Okay, let's go to Archangel Gabriel. So there's Gabriel and Gabriel. We're talking Gabriel. And Gabriel, whenever you see light blue in the psychic air or in the bubbles, and I'm talking about it, I can start seeing it. And some of you might think I'm crazy, but it's okay. I see color. So blue or aquamarine is the color of Archangel Gabriel. And Gabriel comes at dusk. Now, do you know dusk is one of my favorite times? Did you know that when we are walking in the forest during the day, the trees are asleep? But when dusk starts to happen and you look at that horizon and you see that aura along the tree line, that's actually known as their waking breath. How beautiful is that? That's their waking breath when the, like trees give us pure air. Well, we see their waking breath. And that is the time when Archangel Gabriel comes into power in our realm. And so Archangel Gabriel's realm is actually the element water. So cleansing of the soul and cleansing of trauma, cleansing of depression, of the things that we carry of others and all our feelings, okay? And Archangel Gabriel's sign is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So dusk is his time, and the season is fall. And Archangel Gabriel is the one that is known to bring us the strength that we need. And Archangel Gabriel is known as the angel of resurrection. So when we need to have a certain power, whether it's mercy or vengeance or transformation or mysteries revealed, whatever it is, we can call Archangel Gabriel. And Archangel Gabriel is our peacemaker. So when we're not at peace, whether it's ourselves, a situation, a thing, or a person, Archangel Gabriel will give us the guidance that we need. We just need to make sure we face the west during the horizon and tell Gabriel, I need your help with this. And you can also say the word that you want in the alphabet you just learned about tonight. Yes, you're going to get a chart with the signs. There's no way I'll make you thinking them up. I'll give you one. So Gabriel is the one for growth and was known to be of the light. So if we need more light in our life, call Gabriel and ask for his presence. Archangel Uriel is one of my favorite archangels. I'm sorry, I don't mean like in an order, but I use Archangel Uriel a lot because Archangel Uriel's time of day is midnight and his season is the winter and his element is the earth. But Archangel Uriel will let us know where things are going. He's also an angel of vision. So if we're focusing on our earthly realm and we want to see where that's going, whether it's a business deal or a property deal or our physical health, Archangel Uriel will show us where our efforts are headed. And Archangel Uriel is the sign Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And his name means Earth's great Lord. And did I say that when Archangel Uriel comes around, the colors are green and brown? So Archangel's realm is like the gnomes and the elves and the mushrooms and, like the four-legged creatures. The medicine, when we see a deer, that power, when it looks at us, that power in between is Archangel Uriel's realm. And so Archangel Uriel is the guardian of visions and dreams and prophecy. So he's usually carrying a scroll, and he helps us. He is known to bring and assist the healing of the children of the goddess. So those who believe in the goddess are said to have this divine protection of Archangel Uriel. And Uriel is another angel who appeared to be a god in legend, but also in love. And according to John Dee, he gave the interpretation of the mysteries of magic to humans. And he is especially kind to those born in the month of September. Lucky people, you September people. So he likes people that are born in September for some reason. And he is the protector of psychics. And for all those who seek to foretell the future for the good of humankind. So if you do readings for yourself or for others, call Archangel Uriel by your side so that you can trust in the information that you're receiving. And just try that next time you pull an oracle card or do a reading. So that is Uriel. So that is it with the archangels. I could go on to more. I might have to do another angel magic class where we do an invocation and invite. It's the great angelic ritual. So let me know if you would be interested in that, and we can do a angelic ritual. So before you go, let's pull a card on what the angels are doing. You should have seen my candle. You've never seen such a glow. Okay, so while I'm pulling cards, if anyone has any questions or they'd like to say anything, you can do that. And there was one other thing. What was that? I sure don't want you to miss out on that. Okay, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so there is also guardian angels for each birthday. And I went over the archangels and the astrological sign. So maybe what I'll do is I'm going to find a good website. I know that there's like websites on who your birthday guardian angel is. I could tell you to Google it, but if I can source a good website, then you'd have it. You can look it up for all of your people that you know. Let me just put that in the chat so I can ask angel birthday generator. You might already find one as soon as I do this, but I'll give you a good one. All I have to do is look at a couple of things and see if it's right. So angel birthday generator. I have an angel. There's a awesome book that I have, and it's the Dictionary of Angels, and it's super thick, and it's got like every angel in there. I don't know if I still have it on my website, if it's still in print, but I know there's some good websites out there. So I'm going to put that in chat. I always look at it. Okay. So I'm not going to go over those, but let's do our cards. Actually, while we do, there's only a couple of us. I know I have some people in the replay, so they're going to miss out on this. But before we go, let put down your birthday, and I'll tell you what your angel is while we pull a card. So Carolyn, I'm going to do yours first. Okay. And I'm not going to remember your birthday, even though I just did your chart. Okay. So December 10th. Okay. So December 10th for you is December 10th. I'm Maya. I-am-A-M-I-A-H. That's your guardian angel. And it is a female angel. Maya is a female angel symbolizing respect and liberty. Protect those who is in your sign and the guardian angel who helps with defense and spiritual openness. I got goosebumps on that one. And they're devoted and helpful angels, and they help bring ideas and perfection, and they like their work well done. And they tend to be a little serious, but they can't stand disorder. And they appreciate everything that is in order. So call upon her and she will bless you. That's pretty cool. And your card is, when I'm grateful for what I have, I can feel good along the way to what I desire. I love that. Okay, let's do Lorraine. What is yours? We have September 4th. Okay, well, you already know you're favored with Uriel. Okay, September. Let me see. Where am I going to find that? September 4th. September 4th. Okay, so your guardian angel is Yehaiah. So Yehuyah. And yours, I'm just waiting for it, is it means all-knowing God. And it's a female. She's a female god who is linked to work. And she blesses you with superiority to lead and learn the art of command. I love that. As well as receiving respect and obedience in return. I got goosebumps. You better use that whip, lady. And this shows she is a catalyst in helping you develop your intelligence, your strength, and your energy. So you can call on her and communicate with her whenever you are in a time of need. And the card you got is, when I truly surrender to my desires, to the universe, a mighty force of faith sets in. I love that. So now you know you can have faith in your command. Okay, March 18th. Let's see. What do you have, Cheryl? Pull in your card. And your angel. Isn't this interesting? I could talk angels all night. So March. This was definitely not long enough. Okay, March 18th. Your angel is Hahaya. So the same angel. Who had that one? The same angel. So H-A-H-A-I. No, it's not. No, it's not. I got the wrong one. Nope. Nope. Sorry, I almost screwed up. You said March 18th. Yours is Mumia. M-U-M-I-A-H. Mumia. I love the sound of that. I might have to use that one. So this shows that Mumia is your guardian angel, which means God ends of all things. And she is a female angel, and she is connected to the last of the last 72 angels. So she's one of the last 72 angels. So her power reflects regeneration, gratitude, and perseverance, but she instills new beginnings with energy. So whenever you're fighting an obstacle and you need it to go to your success, that's what she does. And she actually uses the moon as her source of energy. So she represents the element of water, and she will help you to reveal your new beginning. So you can call upon her whenever you're doing new beginnings. That is so cool. And your card says, I am in awe of the magnificent guidance that's available to me. That's wicked. Okay, now let's see, how do they feel about what I've said to you tonight? Give me a card. And look, you can see the angelic colors I talked about in the night sky too. So try to look for them tonight. Prove to me I'm not crazy, please. I'm just kidding. I got feeling good will bring me far more than whatever I thought I needed. That's awesome. I love feeling good. Okay. I'm sorry I kept you over, but it wasn't so bad. I'm going to let you go. I'll send out this tomorrow, unless it's done earlier tonight. And you'll also get the alphabet so that you can play with it, do your name, and say the elements, okay? And I had so much fun. It feels like it's too short, but I'll let you go. And thanks for joining. Have a good night. Bye-bye. I'm glad you liked it. Awesome. Bye-bye.